Welcome to session 11, Engaging with Your Audience. Last week, we carried out the session 10, which is on sales competencies. This program is to enable you create effective and efficient sales systems and teams that win. This is being brought to you by METL Global Perspectives, www.metl.in. Customer lifetime value. Cost of customer acquisition is very high. A sales pursuit is time consuming and requires enormous effort. Once acquired, organizations tend to focus on the lifetime value of the customer. This is the total business value that the client organization can provide over an extended period of time if they keep using the products offerings from the supplier organization. There are various ways to calculate it. One can include the immediate sale, the future sales, the cross-selling, upselling propositions, the ability to create complex solutions with another third party into it. So there's a lot of things which can go into the customer lifetime value. But the step one of this is an acquisition of a customer and then be able to build that customer so that one can achieve that customer lifetime value that is targeted by the organization. Customer relationship management. To get the customer lifetime value, the salesperson must be able to develop a great working relationship with the client, wherein the individual is trusted as well as the organization backing them is trusted. This is also called customer relationship management and is very different than the CRM as a technology system that supports the salesperson in the effort. One should be clear that CRM as the technology is very different from the customer relationship management that a salesperson has to carry out. While the CRM is a database or a lot of interactions that brings the customer to life or shows the customer lifetime value and the trajectory and the deal sizes to the salesperson, that data, that information is very useful. However, net to net, it is all about the salesperson being able to manage that relationship with the customer. A salesperson must have the skills to engage with the customers or the prospects. This makes them like the salesperson, and it's the first step in relationship building. There are salespeople who go a long way to develop a very strong relationship with client, even though they really haven't bought yet. I'm sorry, we should call them a prospect, not really a client. But there are salespeople who really go a long way. And then when the orders start coming or the deals start getting signed, they come in big numbers. A skilled salesperson also engages his managers with the client side managers and tries to forge an organization-wide contact. So if you are trying to pitch for big deals, it's very crucial to have this organization-wide contact in place. 5 elements of engagement. To be engaged with the customers or prospects, there are 5 elements that a salesperson must constantly do and focus upon. Element 1, know the customer as an individual, as a person. Element 2, be available and present always when the customer or the prospect needs you. Element 3, communicate to connect. This is a great skill that I have seen excellent salespeople, excellent account managers do that. They can connect with their customers. Element 4, practice reciprocity. And element 5, focus on solutioning. Don't focus on selling something. Focus on solutioning and how whatever you are offering to the customer, that is going to help them. Focus on that aspect. Element 1, know the customer as an individual, as a person. Observe the customer's office or the prospect's office, the objects that the individual carries, and try to know the customer as an individual first and as a purchaser later. As every person has aspirations, a salesperson must know what are those for the customer representative, and the salesperson must be able to connect with it. How do you build this relationship with the customer? How do you connect here? For instance, if the customer has a lot of classics books in his office, it means that the individual likes to read classics. The salesperson must be able to discuss the same with the customer. And for doing so, the salesperson must have read them. Or if the customer has a photograph of a particular place, the salesperson must be able to have a discussion upon it. It is imperative for the salesperson to have a good exposure, wide area of interest, and be well read. These are essentials of a good salesperson who wants to engage with the customers with across levels of hierarchy and be able to carry out the deal dynamics well. Element 2, be available and present. Whenever the prospect or the customers require something, be there. Always look for an opportunity to do beyond order taking, delivery, and complaint redressal. Make sure that whenever the customer or the prospects asks for, it is provided at the earliest. Volunteer and provide information that would make the customer look good to the superiors and achieve their objectives. Now, to do this, you need to know what the customer's or the prospect's role in the organization is. What is it that the individual is trying to achieve? What is it that would help achieve the KRA of that individual and be able to significantly outperform for that individual? What gives value to that person? That these are very important, and one should be able to figure these out as a salesperson over a prolonged period of time. Obviously, a customer won't or an individual won't open up on the day one. It takes time, it takes effort, but one has to be persistent and be very observant on these things. Element 3, communicate to connect. Whatever is being said, it must connect to the need of the prospect or the customer. It must be genuine effort and be carried out sincerely. The art of communication has two aspects to it: verbal and non-verbal. Of course, there is the written communication part of it, but that we are keeping out here. The connect, what we are talking of, happens in the non-verbal communication space. The elements that are there, the few of the things which are important in non-verbal communication are the facial expressions, gestures, tone of voice, body language, personal space, eye gaze, touch, appearance, and artifacts. Be conscious of yours as you are observing these of the customers or the prospects. Element 4, practice reciprocity. Give first, expect order later. Several organizations give demonstration kits and hope that these will then lead to a steady flow of sales orders. However, this is a flawed construct. An organization must first give without any restraints. They should not expect anything to come back. They should just do because they want to be doing that and they want to know the customer well. They should focus on the benefit that the customer expects. Once the customer gets the benefit, they will come to purchase in any case. So it's very important to be genuine when you are doing a sales deal. Any deal done with the objective of trapping a customer or be able to squeeze a customer will not work in the long run. In the world of today, where there are so many options available to any customer at any point of time, these kind of techniques do not work. What works is the genuine connect that one can build and appreciation that one can get. Element 5, focus on solutioning. Always provide solutions to the client requirement. These need the salesperson to understand how the client uses the product and, if possible, some parts of the processing, if they can be undertaken beforehand to suit a client need. Once the product is dovetailed into the customer offering, the sales happens by itself. Very often, salespeople tend to confuse between engaging with the prospects, clients, and follow-up for sales. When one engages, one does not make an attempt to sell. They rather try to add value to the customer or to the prospect. And if you're engaging and the engagement process is correct, you will automatically go towards solutioning and you will automatically start selling to the customer. So focus on these aspects. Client interaction or even prospect interaction. During a sales interaction, it is all about getting to know the client's business requirements and the business processes. However, the interaction that here we are talking about, this is about getting to know them as people first. So, what kind of information would you like to know? How do you gather this information? So, you need to know about information about the client's background. Where did the individual work before, grow up, and what the individual considers as major achievements. Some of us look up the LinkedIn profile and all, but remember, social media often does not provide the correct picture. So do not assume. As you know, very often we state that assume means as you me. So don't do that. You might just refer to the social media and you might just say that, yeah, I saw that, something like this was mentioned there. Is that true? Or how many years did you spend there? And you can have a conversation around that, provided there is a reason. If it is just a data point for you, it doesn't help in the client relationship. What you should do is to find out more from there. But if you want to find out more, you need to have a connect. If you need to have a connect, you need to know aspirations of the client. Know about the major aspirations and goals of the client and where is the individual on it. Is the individual very far away from it? Is the individual very close to it? Doubts and fears. These are normally very difficult because people do not disclose the doubts and fears so easily. But if you know it, it means that the client puts great trust in you. These are the kind of information you're trying to gather. They are the kind of information you're trying to get from the client. Conversation behaviors. Keeping the conversation going with the individual requires apt capabilities in 3 behaviors: building, supporting, and proposing. Proposing means starting a conversation or a topic of conversation that is of relevance to the customer. And remember, many of these we are talking about are non sales related. Supporting means adding to the views that the customer is giving regarding the topic being discussed. So customer has said something, you support that. Customer says that, between Wayanad and Munnar, I think Munnar is a great place to be in. You might say that, yeah, that's true, but Munnar has good heights one has to go for. Those who have issues with vertigo or have nausea driving in cars, they might prefer Wayanad, I think. So you build, you support as well as you are building the conversation to the next level. And then the third is building means going further on the theme and adding increasing value to the conversation. There is one element that you need to be very cautious of, which is criticism. Do not criticize anything, any aspect of it, because whatever you see might be something very precious to the client. So don't criticize. So even if there is something which you see is flawed, don't criticize. To be able to criticize, one needs to know a lot many things about that particular instance. So never be critical, never criticize, but at the same time, keep doing proposing, supporting, and building. Even if there are some things which you do not agree with the client on or the prospect that they are sharing, never be critical. So get communicating with your client, your prospect, talking, observing, engaging, and not criticizing. Evolve your sales a bit every week with me. What are the areas of interest you need to develop to engage with your audience? These can be your clients or your prospects. What are the conversational behaviors you need to practice? How do you engage across hierarchy and align your organization and the client's organization? In case of queries, message me at saugata@metl.in. Next week, we will go to the session 12 where we will talk of follow-up in style. Till then, happy selling.